Hello, Tatay. Good morning.
Hello, Jet. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning sa ating lahat. Good morning sa ating mga katribo sa Marriage Empowerment Tribe Group. Good morning sa ating mga audience at followers sa Marriage Empowerment page. At saka Tatay, good morning din sa mga subscribers natin sa ating YouTube channel, Nanay Jet TV.
Yes,
good morning.
More than one subscriber.
Yes, I would like to thank everyone and happy po tayo, Tatay, dahil accepted yung application natin kay YouTube.
Yeah.
No? So,
nang-apply tayo.
nang-apply tayo.
Hindi ko alam
Oo.
yan.
So, mayroon siyang qualification na kailangan para magkaroon tayo ng opportunity for monetization, no, ng YouTube para naman mag-survive yung channel natin. Dahil alam naman natin na we have a lot of audiences na isi-serve.
Yes.
And kaya masaya tayo, Tatay, kasi kung hindi dahil sa mga audience natin, sa mga followers natin, sa mga subscribers natin, malamang hindi tayo ma-approve ni YouTube.
Yeah, and dyan ay dahil of the sense of mission.
Yes, oo. So maraming salamat at magandang umaga sa ating lahat.
Magandang umaga naman.
So, we have our Morning Toast with Marriage Empowerment Tribe. So, toast Tatay. Yung group natin, Marriage Empowerment Tribe. Oo.
Excited.
Oo. So, Tatay, we are also, good morning sa ating lahat, and we already have an audience. Kindly click po ng link natin sa ibabaw ng video para makikita naman namin kung sino yung nag-i-engage no, sa aming show or sa hino-host natin na Toast every Tuesday morning.
Remember sa ating lahat to, hindi lang sa amin.
Yes.
Sharing tayo
We
dito.
go, we grow, and we glow in love together.
Together.
Oo. So good morning, and Tatay, this is our 40th episode.
Oo. 40. Yung 40 dias.
Page 4. Page 4 na tayo. Oo. So maraming salamat po for being with us for 40 mornings already. Tuesday mornings.
Na tayo sa langit.
So Tatay, yung episode natin last Tuesday, yung gusto mo ba na ma-remember ni asawa ka palagi? How do you want to be remembered by your partner? No? Paano na di ka makalimutan ni wifey or ni hubby?
Maaawit ka lang nang hindi kita
malilimutan. So, eto naman yung topic natin sa umagang ito, Tatay. Medyo mabigat Oo. Kasi pag kung gusto talaga ng mag-asawa na tatatak, hindi lamang sa isa't isa yung buhay nila, mag-asawa, kundi tatatak din sa mga tao na nakapaligid at tatatak din lalo na sa Diyos. Then, eto yung tinatawag tayo ngayon on holiness in marriage. Wow, mabigat nga.
Tatatak yan sa mundo nating iiwanan. Asaw ka mga taong maiwan.
So, medyo mabigat ito at medyo mahirap, pero posible. Diba? Oo, posible naman. Oo. So, posible siya. And minsan, Tatay, na-imagine mo ba yung self mo na may pakpak at saka may halo sa ulo?
May buntot.
Huwag naman.
At saka yung mata nag-aapoy.
Iba na yon. So, eto talaga, yung kasi, minsan, meron tayong mga erroneous belief ba? Mga mistakes minsan. Maliit lang naman na pagkakamali, no? Na minsan, akala natin yung holiness, yung lang laging nagpre-pray, laging nagsisimba, laging nagbabasa ng Bible, yun, santo yan, yun, santa yan. Yung
Biyata yan.
Oo, yun yung ano natin, concept with respect to holiness.
Yes.
And then we also often forget, Tatay, na etong marriage, tinatawag natin ito na classroom of love.
Wow. Bigat yung phrase na yan.
Classroom of love. Kasi ano bang nangyayari sa classroom? Si classroom, bago mag-umpisa si teacher ng class niya, nag-a-attendance yun. So, nag-a-attendance tayo sa marriage. Andyan pa ba si wifey? Andyan pa ba si hubby? Tsaka, nag-check din si teacher kung ano yung natututunan nila, the previous lessons, di ba?
At saka smiling si teacher dyan.
Oo.
Kasi pag nakasimangot, parang hindi na classroom of love yun.
Oo, hindi na siya classroom of love. So, tsaka, dyan sa classroom of love, yung classroom kasi, nandyan yung formation. Yung parang natututo tayo kung paano gawin ng tama at ano yung mali. Kaya nga, mayroong exam, di ba? So, dito din sa marriage, tinatawag natin ito na classroom of love.
Para bang formation of love.
Yes, formation of love. Hindi lang sa atin bilang mag-asawa, sa mga anak natin, at saka yung people, yung mga tao na nakapaligid sa atin.
Ang nakapagdadala dito ng complications sa kabigat, yung dalawa na tayo. Dalawa tayong nagfo-formation ng love.
So, yun yung parang medyo bumigat yung pasanin, no? But before tatay, going into the content talaga ng holiness in marriage, we want to have a shout out. So, magsa-shout out tayo kay Mama Lu, kay Sis Day, kay Trixie, kay Ma'am Bennett, kay Franklin, kay Saint Peter, kay Sir Peter, at saka kay Sir Joseph. Yes. Sila yung at si Ma'am Becky, sila yung mga parang talagang loyal engagers.
Yes.
Oo, kung ano yung ipopost natin talaga. At saka si Sister Jane Momo, no? Oo. So good morning sa inyong lahat.
Good morning to everyone.
And thank you sa pagsubaybay po, no? Thank you sa pagsubaybay ng mga show or episodes natin.
Yes.
So tatay, ano ba yung current situation ngayon? Bakit tayo kailangan we have this particular content on holiness as a calling in marriage?
First, sa pandemic na to, para bang ang lahat ay nagsusurvive, not just individually, but as a family, and much more as a married couple. Para bang nandun tayo sa survival mode.
At wala sa thriving mode. Iba kasi yung surviving at saka thriving talaga.
Yes,
Oo. So, at saka, parang napakabilis ng buhay na minsan, yung ibang couples ay naghihingalo.
Ano ba yung naghihingalo?
Yung parang nawala na ng oxygen, no? Nawala na ng hininga. Kasi sobrang bilis ng buhay at minsan, hindi na nila nakukuha yung time to breathe, no?
Para ba, katulad ba yun ng scenario, drowning? Hindi naman.
Hindi naman masyado.
Drowning
states. Hindi naman. And then, mukha kang pare. Teka muna. Mukha kang pare. Kaya siguro, binabagay mo yung topic natin ngayon, holiness in marriage. No? So, yung isa pang sitwasyon, tatay, na nakikita natin, lalo na sa pandemic na to, is that we are seeking sanity instead of sanctity. Kasi, di ba, ngayon, sobrang napakalaki yung issue ng mental health.
Yes.
Oo. We want to be sane kasi para na tayong nahihilo na sa iba't ibang input, lalo na sa parang season of politics na ulit, ang daming input na hindi tayo kampante with respect to what is going on in the environment. So we are seeking sanity.
And we have just we have just experienced those dark times. In fact, it is still there. Pandemic times. All the terminologies new to us are there. The new normal and all that lockdowns and all these things. We're tired of it, and now we are into a season of politics.
Yes. So instead of seeking sanctity, kung paano ba medyo naman kampante yung buhay, mayroong Panginoon yung buhay, no? Parang nasisiraan tayo. Kasi we were all flat-footed sa nangyayari.
Yes,
Oo.
as if we are having this journey in dark times.
Pero tatay, mayroon namang good news, no?
Yes.
Yung good news natin sa pandemic na ito is that we are given the time to be with the family, and then we are also given the time to listen to God's plan for our marriage. Kasi 'di ba tayo, kung hindi tayo nagla-lockdown, minsan umalis yung isa for work, the other one for work, tapos magkikita lang tayo pag gabi na, pag maaga yung work natin, alis na naman. So konti lang yung time to be together for the whole week.
In
talaga.
other words, something deeper. We are given all the opportunity to see the deeper meaning of time.
Yes.
Right? Not just time, but the deeper meaning of time. Time to be together, time with the family, time to be with God. In other words, deeper, something spiritual in nature, because this is going inner into ourselves.
And then, hindi natin namalayan na yung Diablo, yung si Satan is already stealing our, in fact, destroying already our marriages and our families.
It's always there.
So, kaya nga, yung parang antidote natin for this, para hindi tayo mawawala sa direksyon natin, we really need to look into what is holiness in marriage.
Yes.
So, sa'yo, tatay, ano ba yung holiness para sa'yo?
I have come across a very deep reflection of holiness, and it comes from Bishop Barron. Just to summarize, according to him, there are 3 paths to holiness. Merong 3 daan patungo sa holiness. According to him, the first one is finding the center of your life. Sino ba at ano ba talaga yung sentro ng buhay mo? Buhay mag-asawa. Ano bang center ng buhay natin mag-asawa, na pag yung life nandun sa baba, nandoon sa taas, nandoon sa baba, parang gulong, ano ba yung center doon? Kasi nga, if in the ups and downs of life, there has to be center of it in order not to be derailed from our journey. Secondly, we recognize, I have to recognize that I am a sinner. I have to recognize that I am a sinner, and the first thing that I should do to myself is check whether I have these sins, basic sins against love, which are pride, greed, and hatred. Okay? So, yung second is knowing that I am a sinner, and so this will give me the opportunity to really ask forgiveness, because all the time I commit sin. Okay? And thirdly, after having purified myself, okay, with God's grace, I cannot do it alone. I am a man with pride, so asking God's grace so I can have this forgiveness.
Then the sense of mission.
Sense of mission. After having purified myself, I have to be strong that I am called to a mission. A mission called as a husband, as a wife. That is my mission in married life. These are the 3 paths to.
So yung sinasabi mo, yung daan na patutungo sa holiness.
Yes.
So yung sa akin naman, yung holiness para sa akin, kung na-reflect na, makikita na ng tao yung character ni God sa sarili mo.
Yes.
So when you can already see God in yourself and with your husband, so nakikita na ni hubby na parang Diyos na ito, or nakikita na ni wifey na yung character na, ano ba yung character ni Jesus or ni God, di ba? It's in Galatians actually na merong joy, merong peace, merong patience, merong love, yung 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit, tatay. Yun yung ano.
Yung fruits yan.
Yes.
Yung namumunga sa buhay ng tao. That we have to be very truthful about this. In our case, we are still in the process of struggle.
Yes. So disclaimer, tayong lahat na work pa para
Kasi
maging holy. Kasi ang hirap talaga eh.
maraming
Oo.
instances na yung mga fruits of the Spirit na yan, hindi ko makikita sa iyo, hindi mo makita sa akin. Maraming instances yan in this journey. So this is why this will really require not wealth, not riches, not that all these competencies in this world, but one thing, grace.
So yung yung parang naghuhugas ka ng pinggan or naglalaba ka, ngunit hindi ka joyful na kasi mangot ka. So wala pa rin, hindi pa rin na-reflect yung character ni God sa'yo. Kasi mayroon ka pang reklamo eh. Mayroon ka pang yes, mayroon ka pang expression na hindi ka masaya sa pinapasukan mo.
And we have to be very definite and specific. Ano ba yung karakter ni God na dapat makikita ko sa iyo, sa akin? The character of God is simply love. Okay? Because God is love. That's why we always say God is not only the source of love, but He is love in Himself. So, abundant yan. Infinite yan. Dapat makikita sa hubby, sa kanyang asawa, dapat makikita ni wifey sa kanyang hubby. And in so far as marriage is concerned, we have been repeating these three elements of love. You have passion, you have intimacy, and commitment. Kung tatlong na to ay dapat makikita sa hubby at saka sa wifey, because these are the elements in married life na yung karakter ng God na yan. Pag hindi nakikita yung intimacy na yan, parang may kulang sa...
So when we talk about character or ano yung behavior ng tao, dapat naka-reflect kung ano yung behavior ni God sa atin.
Yes,
Oo.
yes.
So yung holiness is reflecting the character of God in us. Oo.
Which is love. I would define it as love within the context of marriage.
And dahil hindi tayo naman a God, hindi tayo perfect, di ba? That is why Jesus said na be perfect as your Father is perfect. Be holy as your Father is holy.
And it requires a lot of struggle in life and in married life.
Yes, lalo na sa marriage na sobrang daming temptation and sobrang daming opportunity na ma-derail tayo.
But I would like to quote yung nasisiyahan tayo, a very good spirituality of the Dominicans. They would always say, the best proof of loving is giving. Okay? Yan magsisimula pag giving tayo, giving all sa hubby, sa wifey, time, talent, and treasure. Right?
So mamaya na yan, tatay, dahil meron tayong mga additional inputs para sa kanila on becoming holy in marriage. So kahit alam naman natin na hindi talaga siya madali, but we also have to consider na pwede siyang gawin. Okay. So number 1 na tinatawag tayong mag-asawa to holiness, no? Yung tinatawag, tatay, sa libro ni Dan at saka ni Amber, merong tinatawag na conjugal chastity. Okay, tatype natin para makikita nila yung ano tong conjugal chastity. Right. So yung conjugal chastity, tatay, di ba ano yung word na chastity? That's
purity.
Purity.
Let's have the term purity.
Purity.
Para ba yung vow of chastity?
Sa mga madre at saka sa pare, mayroon silang being the vow of chastity, yung being pure and being a virgin, no? Yung single lang talaga, single blessedness. Pero sa marriage naman, iba yung parang context niya. Is bilang conjugal chastity. Yung purity na sinasabi dito is yung giving and receiving authentic love according to God's plan. So 'di ba, kanina sinabi mo, yung giving yung proof natin na mahal natin ang isa't isa.
The best proof of loving.
Pero pag nagbibigay ka na hindi naman authentic, hindi sincere yung pagbibigay mo, let's say, doing the chores, nagbibigay ka naman, naghuhugas ka ng pinggan, nagluluto ka, pero nakamaktol ka naman, hindi authentic giving yon. And then at the same time, the gift of self, yung time, talent, at treasure na sinasabi mo. Oo. So it belongs here, yung pagiging partner with respect to chastity. Kasi yung conjugal, yung ibig sabihin, kayong dalawa talaga, naging pure yung intention ninyo mag-asawa to serve each other.
The giving here is within the idea of purity, sincerity, authenticity. Meaning you give with authentic. You are an authentic giver. Actually, I am offering this. I would use that term offering. I am offering this thing to my beloved because I know she would be or he would be happy when I do this. And that is something authentic. Not because I just want to do it. Not just because I am compelled to do it, but because I'm sure she would be happy about this. That's authentic to me.
Yeah. So when you are becoming an infidel, yung nagkaka-third party, meron kang ibang pinupuntirya sa energy mo, yung passion mo, ay it's no longer pure of intention.
Yes.
Oo. And say for example, yung intimacy mo hindi na pure intention kasi last na siya. Oo. And pati yung commitment, hindi na rin pure yung intention mo of committing yourself kasi nga pinangasawa mo lang siya dahil mayaman, 'di ba? Hindi pure yung intention mo, nawawala yung pagiging chaste natin.
But what is reality telling us? Reality is telling us na talagang mangyayari itong infidelities na to. That's why we have learned so much about midlife crisis. Nandun yan. And there are lots of temptations. Every journey in marriage, ma-experience talaga yan. Maraming temptations. That's why Bishop Baron was reminding us it is very necessary to start with finding the center of
So
life.
ano ba talaga yung pinakamahalaga ninyo?
Yes.
Bilang mag-asawa at saka bilang pamilya.
Center of married life that will keep the balance as we journey. Yung gulong, patungo yan sa direksyon na kanyang destination.
Oo.
Pero along the way, may mga bumps yan. May rugged, places yan, roads yan. At saka yung tire yan ay nagagasgas yan. Ano ba yung tire na yan? I do not know.
Merong friction.
Yes. And so, but what remains, what keeps the balance is the center. And here in married life, my center I would propose would be love. And that love is God because God is love. Pag nakasentro yung married life natin sa totoong love na yan, which is God, actually God. Ano man mga temptations sa future, ano ba yung ups and downs sa gulong na yan, the balance of marriage will be kept, will be preserved. Why? Because it is centered in a very stable yan, ang sinabi na solid foundation. Center, which is God.
So we would like to acknowledge that yung presence ni Sir Franklin at saka ni Sis Kawaki at saka ni Sis Elvira, no? Na salamat po na andito kayo. So yes, tatay, napakahalaga yung number 1 na paraan, no, to answer the calling, that is you should have conjugal chastity, yung pureness. So kung pag-aasawa mo ayaw mo palang magkaanak kayo, kaya nagka-contraceptives kayo, yung intention ninyo ay hindi na naging pure. Nagpapa-abort ka dahil ayaw mo na ng extra baby, diba? Yung parang wala na sa direksyon, sa plano ng Diyos kung ano yung pagiging married couple.
Because it contravenes the will of God. And in the very start of our webisode, we have been very specific about sexuality and its nature. The ultimate goal is procreation. And if we violate, if we contravene that basic goal of marital union, sexuality in marital union, then we are offending God, and then we end up in, conjugal, not chastity. What is the term for that? Infidelity. In that case. So our married life will be having some problems here because we are actually offending the center of our marriage.
Oo. And then another thing, Tatay, when we talk about conjugal chastity, this is about purity, no?
Yes.
So when you talk about clean thoughts, pure thoughts, sincere intention,
Yes.
authentic bilang tao, yung pagbibigay mo sa lahat, this should trickle down to the children, to the family.
Yes.
Kaya mahalaga din na as parents, we have to have an absolute care of media, social media, and modesty on what we wear.
Yes, but it must start with, fundamental processes here.
Mm-mm.
Insofar as natural education is concerned, as an educator, you have known that the parents are the natural teachers of the children. Yung asawa yan, siya yung ilaw ng tahanan. At the very start of consciousness of children, yung wifey na yan, siya ang ilaw nagbibigay ng value sa kanyang mga anak.
So kung siya mismo, by just wearing sexy things na minsan nakaka-attract ng lust sa ibang tao, nakaka-scandalize sa ibang tao. So siguro naman, you also have to correct yourself. And it is the duty of the husband to check na yung sinuot mo, hindi na pwede yan kung pupunta ka sa labas. But it
can be done in a very loving manner.
And in a very subtle way.
Otherwise, we will end up a very conservative thing. Okay? Very conservative thing. Although, there's nothing wrong about it.
Ang punto ko lang siguro, Tatay.
Moderation. Balance.
Okay. Ang punto ko na there is an absolute care.
Yes.
So when we say absolute care, titingnan mo lang ikaw mismo sa sarili mo kung hindi ba malaswa tingnan, 'di ba? And then titingnan mo rin kung ano yung pinanunood ng mga bata kasi the internet now is very open, and then there might be some porno available na mabubuksan ng mga bata, and nakaka-ano rin yan sa isip, no?
And it will infiltrate the innocence of children.
Yes,
and poison their moral minds.
Yes, oo. So mahalaga talaga dito yung kayong dalawa, pareho kayo ng paningin kasi kung okay sa iyo, sa akin hindi, or okay sa akin, then sa iyo hindi.
Kayong dalawang magpatayad.
Oo. So you really have to agree on.
Yes.
You also have to agree on.
And one thing that is very important here in this so-called chastity or purity, one of the passages of scripture says, I think in the Beatitudes, if not I'm not mistaken, it says, "Blessed are the pure of hearts, for they can see God." This is very applicable in marriage. You want to see God in married life, look at what is happening to love, because God is love. And you want to see it for yourself, because there are married people, who do not see love in their married life.
Yes.
And it requires chastity, purity of heart to see that love going on in married life. Because if there is no purity of heart, there is no way for us to see God. God is love. So we cannot see love going on in this family, in this married life. Why? Look at yourself. Probably purity of heart is the issue. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Then another thing, Tatay, na tinatawag tayong mag-asawa, So maliban sa conjugal chastity, tinatawag din tayo sa yung term na conjugal poverty. Ano yung
poverty na naman yun.
parang talagang we are to the road of holiness kasi medyo nakakatawa minsan, and parang hindi na ito normal kasi ang normal natin yung ibang landas yung normal natin.
We call it secular world. The secular world, yung landas na pinag-discuss natin dito, para bang going to spirituality? Because this is spirituality actually.
Yes.
Holiness is not something secular. Holiness is something spiritual. Yes, inner, looking into the inner self. Even if you will look at books on human, psychology books, for instance, there is a topic there on spirituality.
In fact, nakukuha natin, Tatay, itong mga ideas na to because of a retreat book. Na retreat for couples, for couples na eto yung dapat nating tingnan din as mag-asawa kung nagkaroon ba tayo ng conjugal chastity, and ngayon nga, tinitingnan natin, tinutulungan natin yung audience natin kung paano rin yung pangalawa, yung conjugal poverty.
Conjugal poverty. Allergy ang mga tao sa buhay ngayon. Parang allergy ang mga couples dyan. Poverty na naman.
And ngayon nga, naghihirap na tayo, pandemic. So, parang allergy talaga tayo because we equate poverty with material blessings.
Yes. Yeah, Jewish custom yan. Yung you are the son, the children of God because you are materially blessed. Jewish yan.
But when we say poverty here is that self-sacrificing siya. It talks about sacrifices.
Yes.
And then it talks about giving up, 'di ba? Kung 'di ba, yung gospel natin yesterday o sa Sunday, yung sinasabi binigay ng byuda, ng widow, yung last 2 centavos niya. And that is self-sacrifice, 'di ba? And sacrificial giving yung term natin. So, siguro ganun din sa marriage natin. Kung kailangan nating i-give up, selfless na yung love natin, na yung titingnan natin ay yung ano na yung pwedeng magawa natin for our partner and for our children, then siguro yun yung tinatawag na conjugal poverty.
Yeah, yung giving all. Right? Giving, because this is giving all. And then this is something very spiritual because it drives, it strikes into the inner core of a person's self.
At mami-measure mo rin kung ano ang binavalue ng tao. Because kung hindi niya nag-give up yung time niya for the family, let's say very workaholic si partner, tapos hindi niya nag-give up yung work niya because merong asawa na nagkasakit, di ba? Meron namang gano'n na yung pain ng asawa, sabi, where were you when I needed you? Di ba?
Where were you when the lights are out?
Oo, where were you when I needed you? Kasi nung nagkasakit ako, nasaan ka? Nandun ka sa barkada mo.
Nanganak ako.
Oo.
Wala ka.
So, yun yung mga pains at saka sufferings ng iba eh.
Yes.
It's just because one person doesn't want to give up something for the partner.
And that's what you said. There's something to do with your value. Ano ba yung pinaka-value mo?
Anong mahalaga
sa
sa'yo?
Instance na yun? Yes.
So, and then, dito mo rin mami-measure na kahit walang-wala na, masaya ka pa rin, yun yung real happiness.
Yes.
And, in fact, tatay, yung Beatitudes, di ba? Happy are the poor, for they will do, mayroong ganun. Happy are the,
palaging happy.
Puro, kasi yun yung guide, yun yung guide ng real happiness.
Yes.
The Beatitude is the guide for us people kung ano yung talagang meron yung real happiness, yung real joy mo na kahit walang pera, kahit konti lang meron, kahit maliit lang yung bahay natin, but still we are smiling at each other and we are at peace. So yun yung real happiness.
And that's the reason why we have to learn what really is the center of our married life. Kasi if that is love talaga yun, love is something spiritual in nature. Hindi yan mami-measure ng any material things.
Yes.
Because it comes from the heart. And when we love a person out of simplicity, right? Authenticity. And this do not require, wealth and riches, competence, and all this greatness in this world. No. A great lover is not measured because he is a doctorate, he has accomplished many things in this world. No. A great lover simply starts with the very basic step, a very small thing. Right? That's sincerity, right? No, that little things we do.
Little way of sincerity.
Of love. Even if we just cook this small food, wipe this, wash these dishes, but if it is done with great love, then that becomes a great thing.
So, yun yung natin, i-acknowledge din natin yung pagiging sinful natin, na minsan, eto yung nawawala eh.
Yes.
Na parang nakatiklop, yung covered by something else yung attention natin na hindi na natin nakikita what is essential talaga.
Yes. And it started with the fall of man, and that is a long story. But the thing here is, God has created something good. all his creations, he ended with a statement, and that was good. But then the enemy, and this is the enemy, ancient enemy, which is still existing and surrounding our married life, the ancient enemy really tries to destroy this beauty and goodness of creation. And that includes the beauty of marriage.
Yes. And lastly, tatay, yung pwedeng gawin natin bilang mag-asawa para naman ma-achieve natin yung holiness maliban sa conjugal chastity at conjugal poverty. Yung pangatlo, which is, I think, is very, very difficult sometimes for couples is eto, yung tinatawag natin na conjugal obedience.
Parang pari yan talaga. About poverty, chastity, and obedience.
Yes. Kasi lahat tayo naman tinatawag na maging priest, prophet, at saka king, di ba?
Yes.
So, in a way, yung conjugal obedience, yung giving your total yes to God.
Yes.
And we are not saying na tayo perfect na tayo dahil we are sharing this to them, no? Yung mga secrets na to.
The process,
But we are also struggling.
It is a very heavy thing to comply in married life.
Yes. And eto yung journey natin, no? Kasama kami sa journey ninyo. Alam namin na mahirap. Alam kasi we ourselves are also trying our best na sana we can walk through this particular calling. So, total yes to God. So, paano ba maging total yes to God? Una siguro, tatay, you cannot be obedient if you do not know ano yung medyo command or request. Diba? Because to be obedient, you say yes kasi alam mo na mayroong command or mayroong request.
Yes.
Diba? Pag ikaw, diba?
Not just request, but I think command. Because it is a calling. Tinatawag eh.
So siguro ang unang hakbang dito is listening to God's voice.
Yes.
Yung marunong kang makinig talaga kung ano yung sinasabi ng inner self mo na siya yung boses ng Panginoon.
Maingay ang paligid. The world is so noisy. Lies everywhere. Fake news everywhere. Nakakalungkot, nakakapagod. Everything is noisy. But then, we need to listen. Now, we do listen the voice of God. It is basically through the discipline. I mentioned the term discipline of prayer.
Yes. Hindi mo maririnig yung boses ng Panginoon kung wala kang oras na magdasal, no?
Yeah.
Kung wala kang oras na, if you're Catholic, you have the rosary, magbasa ng reflection verses from the Bible. Kung wala kang time yan, hindi mo talaga maririnig yung boses ng Panginoon. And in that case, paano ka nga maging obedient kung hindi mo alam kung ano yung command?
Sa atin yung prayer, start of prayer, na palagi kong sinasabi ito, yung start of prayer, kasi discipline yan. Okay? And it requires a lot of time and effort. Now, how do we do it? Just a matter of sharing. Just consider 24 hours in a day.
Yes.
Yan, given yan. External yan. Okay? 24 hours a day. Now, what does the Bible say? The Protestants would be very expressed to this. Give 10%. Give 10%. So, compute, math teachers. 10% to 24 hours is?
2.4.
And that is to be given to God.
Yes.
At least in a day, spend, yung 2 hours lang. If you do not know how to use verbal prayer, just be silent, because Mother Teresa says the fruit of silence is prayer. Just be silent with yourself, and very important here is be connected with nature, because in nature you will have all the abundance there of the presence of God, because God created nature. And what is the starting point? You can focus on oxygen. Because oxygen gives life. God is life.
Kaya merong breathing
Yes.
exercise.
Oh,
We start our prayer with the
Yes,
breathing exercise.
I think that is ignition, right? Okay,
Uh-uh.
all these things. So that's prayer. Okay,
So yung pag-listen, yung nakikinig ka talaga sa boses ng Panginoon, mahirap to, ang exercise
Yes,
na to eh. So first, you can listen God's voice through your environment.
Yes.
Kaya nga, you keep silent and then breathing, exercise ka, and then pray. So through the environment, and that includes the people around you.
Yes.
Kasi minsan kung ano yung mga sinasabi ng tao, maririnig mo yan kung tahimik ka, 'di ba? If you
Yes.
are silent. And then naririnig mo rin yung boses ng Panginoon
Yes.
dahil sa experience. Kung ano yung experience mo for that moment, for that particular day, yun, makikita mo ano ba ang gusto ng Diyos para sa akin sa araw na to.
Yes, and we have experienced that lots of times when we have some big things to perform or to do.
Yes.
We wake up early in the morning and then just the simple thing of gazing at the stars. You know,
And then another thing,
etc.
Tatay, is
Yes.
yung nakikinig ka rin sa events of your life.
Yes.
O, yung mga events, kung mayroong mga malalaking events talaga, ano ba ang mensahe ng Diyos sa akin ngayon? So you really have to, if you think na medyo hindi mahirap yung gagawa kami ng content kung ano yung sasabihin namin sa inyo or i-share namin sa inyo for every Tuesday morning, hindi madali yan. But then, we have time to keep silent and we will ask God, God, ano ba yung gusto mong i-share namin sa mga couples ngayon na makikinig sa amin every Tuesday? So, you really have to be silent for you to be able to listen to God's voice and see your environment, just be observant, and then the experience and the events happening in your life. Ito yung mga paraan kung paano ninyo marinig ang boses ng Diyos.
That's why we need time. Set aside
yung 2.4
Yes.
hours. Oo.
That's very important so as to prepare us for this mission, because mission is not an easy thing to do, and missionaries will attest to that. And if we devote our married life to mission, that is something wonderful and interesting, but then it requires a lot of struggle and discipline and preparing all these things like what we are doing here.
Yes.
There are times when wala na talagang maiisip.
Ano
wala
ba?
na talaga.
Bakante tayo. Anong topic? Ano bang
Lord,
concerns ng mag-asawa ngayon?
Lord, wala na ito sa libro. It's up to you. And suddenly, out of reflection in the silence, there is just that whisper from your environment, as if it is written on the air.
And tsaka, Tatay, we should not forget na yung body natin is the temple. Yung gospel sa ngayon, sa araw na to, our bodies are temples of God.
Yes.
So, there is a need. Kung dito ang Panginoon nakatira sa katawang ito, dapat naging pure siya. Dapat naging obedient siya.
Yes.
So, andyan yung holiness na character ng katawang ito.
Yes.
In body and in spirit.
Yes.
Diba?
And both husband and wife becoming one, that's the temple. Marriage has become the temple of the temple of God in the persons of the husband and the wife serving God in marriage.
And eto yung mga nakikita ko kasi I've been also with other groups, and then merong mga complaints yung wives. Usually yung wives ang maraming complaints. Ang lalaki siguro merong complaints pero hindi nila bino-voice out sa social media.
Kasi
no?
prayerful kami. Silent.
Bias, ano?
Prayerful.
But yung reklamo naman, makikita mo na yung behavior ng mga hubbies are not in accordance with what is God's will, no? And nakikita natin na from the start kasi hindi naging obedient kay Lord. Let's say for example, when we decide to enter into marriage, yung nagsasama na kayo, but kulang yung element of commitment. Walang blessing of isang kasal, no? So here in this case, yung third element na maging holy ka, yung becoming obedient to God's plan. Ano naman yung God's plan? Unity. Unity. And then you cannot even unite yourselves to commit each other.
Yes.
Oo. So, parang sa start pa lang, sa umpisa pa lang, meron ng kulang Kaya, minsan, sila yung merong maraming problema.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
sino bang maraming problema yung mga?
Hindi,
Okay.
ang medyo may maraming problema sa tingin ko, and because of our mentoring also by experience, nakikita natin na those who did not start right.
Yes.
Now, when they started their relationship, nagkamali ng decision making,
Yes.
and alam naman natin na magkamali talaga yung tao, because number 2 is that yung element na we are all sinners.
Yes, that's the reason why at the very start when we recognize we are all sinners, dapat nandun yan. Kasi dyan ang starting point ng healing process. Nagkamali tayo. Sa simula, nagkamali.
So let's repair it.
Okay, and that starts with, the act of repentance. Acknowledging that we are sinners.
And then, tatay, yung conjugal obedience does not only mean na obedient tayo kay God.
Yes.
It is also obedience between spouses.
Yes.
Sino ba yung dapat sundin, no?
Yes.
Kasi sino ba yung dapat sundin? Ako ang hari, ako ang reyna, 'di ba? Mayroon tayong episode na 'yan. Ako ang hari, ako ang reyna. Sino ba ang dapat masunod? So dito, titingnan natin rin yung obedience natin sa isa't isa.
And that I think that would be that has something to do with obedience to our vows of marriage. Okay? We commit to each other, and we have made a vow in the presence of God and in the presence of the Christian community during our wedding. And so in our entire marriage journey, we have to have this conjugal obedience, mutual obedience yan. Hindi lang ako mag-obey ng vow ko, dapat tayong dalawa, because we have already promised before men and before God that we have to be one with each other in the sacrament of matrimony.
And it is also being mentioned in Ephesians 5, tatay, na man or lalaki, mahalin mo yung asawa mo, and then babae, you have to submit to your husband.
Yes.
Kasi pag hindi mo talaga ino-obey itong Ephesians 5 na to, 21 to 29 and verse 31, makikita mo rin na hindi naging peaceful yung relationship.
Yes.
Oo. Kasi pataasan na kayo ng ere, pataasan kayo ng pride. Ako dapat ang masunod, bakit hindi nasunod? Nagiging controlling ka na bilang wifey or bilang husband, nagiging diktador ka na, and parang military na yung pag-run, pag-manage, pag-govern ng relationship natin. So, naging malungkot tuloy, no, yung relasyon, pati mga anak takot na takot lumapit sa iyo. So
ang term niyan is tense.
Very tense. Oo. So kaya dito siguro sa obedience between spouses, you have to express the 5 languages. You have to be intentional with the 5 languages of love.
Yes. And the end in mind is to simply have this passion, intimacy and commitment preserved in the entire journey of marriage through the languages of love. But I think one bishop added the 6th one, which is feast.
So may kainan talaga.
May kainan talaga. That's why we say family that eats together
stays together. So hindi lang yung family that prays together stays together, pero lalo na sa kultura natin na mahilig sa kain. So the family that eats together stays together.
Pag walang kainan, nako, napakalungkot yan.
And then tatay, siguro kung nakikita ng mga bata yung mutual respect at mutual obedience natin sa isa't isa, natitrickle din nila yon. Nakikita niya na obedient si nanay kay tatay, and si tatay naman, pag mayroong reklamo si nanay, talagang sinusunod si nanay, sobrang mahal si nanay, nakikita niya na you are kissing good morning, yung parang masaya talaga yung relasyon, yung stable din yung anak natin, yung parang very secure sila na etong dalawang to, nagmamahalan talaga to. Kasi pag nakikita nila araw-araw na nag-aaway kayo, nagsusumbatan kayo, nai-insecure yung mga children ninyo, ng mga anak ninyo.
That's why it's very important to be having this degree, not perfect, but degree of holiness. Why? Because this degree of holiness will serve as basis of the validity and legitimacy of authority
Mm-mm.
within spouses. Because when we speak of obedience, sometimes submission yan, there has to be validity of authority. Why will I obey to this man? Why will I obey to this spouse? Why will I obey to this husband when this is a wicked husband? Right?
Yes.
But if there is a degree of holiness being voiced by that person, ay wala kang magagawa dyan than to obey. Right? Obedience is there the moment you see and perceive by your heart that this man is living a holy life. This
Yes.
woman is living a holy life. And your children will obey. Right? To a mother who is virtuous, who is
Yes.
living a holy life. Pag daldal ng daldal, parang wickedness na mother na yan, walang mag-uubing bata na yan.
Yes. So we do not only respect each other, but yung mga anak natin also needs respect.
Yes.
Oo. So minsan talaga we have to be cruel to be kind when we have to stop them na wag yan ha. Talagang mali yan. Yung you
Yes.
really have to tell them na mali is mali, correct is correct, no? Acceptable is acceptable, and non-negotiable, non-negotiable. Kahit anong iyak pa dyan gagawin ng mga batang yan, but consistent ka sa disiplina mo at sa ka-respect sa kanila, then you will see na they will also respect you back as a parent.
That requires, we call it moral ascendancy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Pag wala kang moral ascendancy, in question yung whole degree of holiness mo, yung virtues mo.
Katulad ng, huwag kang manigarilyo, pero ikaw mismo nakikita ng anak mo na naninigarilyo. Huwag kang uminom, pero nakikita mo nagiinuman, pati si wifey at saka si hubby, di ba?
Gusto mong gawin sa iba, hindi mo ginawa.
Oo.
Right? So, malaking problema.
So, hindi maging obedient yung mga bata.
Wala kang integrity.
Huwag kang, do not sell, yung parang sa election time na, huwag kang tumanggap ng bribery or whatever, pero nakikita ng anak mo na ginagawa mo, so mawawalan yan ng respeto. So, wala kang moral ascendancy to correct your children.
Yes.
Oo. So, tatay, napakahabang usapan ito with respect to holiness at napakahabang journey din.
Yes.
Kasi holiness in marriage is actually a journey for me. Okay? And in fact, it is a journey of love. Kasi sabi mo nga, diyan mo isisentro yung relationship ninyo,
Yes.
yung marriage ninyo sa pag-ibig.
That's why you call it a classroom of love.
Yes. And you have to focus to the final destination. Everything na meron tayo ngayon, iiwanan lang natin eh. Diba? So, sa pandemic nga, yung iba, nawala sila sa buhay na hindi nila alam na iiwan na pala nila lahat.
Yes.
No? So, we were so disheartened sa mga nangyayari na araw-araw makikita natin sa timeline natin, merong
Yes.
nawawala, merong namamatay, nung parang ganon. And we were not able to work on properly holiness
Yes.
in the context of marriage, no? So do not forget the final destination na yung glory of love.
Yes.
And we go, grow together in this particular difficult journey. So ito,
I
tatay.
like the phrase classroom of love. Para bang teaching din, charism natin dalawa sa inyo, gift yan. Para bang ganito, married life as a classroom of love, para bang at the end, lesson planning ito, at the end of this journey together as married
You will
couples,
be able to
we should be able to enter
the kingdom of
the
God.
sanctuary lang,
The
the sanctuary of perfect love. Okay, nasa sa atin yan.
Ang ganda yan,
Ang end goal natin at the end of this journey as married couples, we should be able to enter the sanctuary. Okay, the sanctuary of perfect love. Kasi in this marital journey, in this world earthly journey, wala pang perfection yan. But at the end of this earthly marital journey, we should be able to enter the sanctuary, because we are talking of
Holiness
as temple of
of
Holy
the
Spirit.
Spirit. Oo.
Merong sanctuary yan. Yung temple na yan, may sanctuary. But we should be able to enter
The
finally
sanctuary.
the sanctuary of perfect love. That
Yes.
is God. All right.
Okay, so bago tayo aalis, we would like to thank everyone sa lahat ng tiyaga ninyo to be here with us for 40 episodes already. So don't forget to download yung mga bago sa group natin. Kindly download 7-Step Solution to Rescue Your Marriage Before It Starts to Crumble. Download it to 𝐺jetLNAR.com. No? Punta kayo doon. And then, sa mga nag-follow natin sa page natin, thank you very much for being with us every Tuesday morning. And sa mga subscribers natin sa YouTube, kindly share, no? Kindly share our channel sa mga kaibigan ninyong mag-asawa. Meron o wala mang problema sa relasyon nila, because this is a good time to be with you. So don't forget to subscribe and then click the bell para naman ma-notify kayo kung meron kaming mga bagong upload. So God bless everyone, and we would like to have our Marriage Empowerment Toast. Sobra ka talaga, tatay. So God bless everyone.
Bye,
God
everyone.
bless. So see you sa next episode natin. God bless po. Maraming salamat. God bless.